Coffee Break, and I am joined by my beautiful, wonderful friend, Raisa.
Hi, world.
Yes, Raisa, I'm sorry, I didn't give you a second. But, yeah, guys, so the general idea of why we wanted to sit down, this has been a long time coming. I mean,
Yes,
it's
like
been
a year and a half.
Yeah, it's been a while, but we, just had the pleasure of sitting down one time, and I really got to hear Raisa's heart on a topic that's so dear to her, and I was like, oh man, we gotta do a coffee break chat about that. So ever since then, we've been trying to make this happen seriously. We've scheduled it like 3 times. So we're so excited to finally be bringing this conversation to you, and it's just the overall concept of women in the media, how we're perceived and how we're displayed. The overall presentation of what we look like on that platform, the idea of self-worth and self-love, and of wholeness, and how you find it. So I just wanted to, bring Raisa and her beautiful, awesome energy to you guys, just so we could have this conversation, and at least for you guys to have offline if you don't want to join us, even though we'd love to hear back from you and get an idea of, how you feel. So, Raisa, you want to just dive in?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Chelsea.
Thank you, girl.
It's an honor to be sitting here, having this dialogue. It's so important. We women, we just got to do better. Long story short, we have to do better with imagery in the media as a whole entity. And also what we're okay with tolerating, most importantly, above media within ourselves. I will be the first to tell you, that I have definitely had my fair share with struggles with looking at certain imagery and thinking that I wasn't, what would be accepted as the norm of what beauty is, that I wasn't accepted within my community for, body types or what was accepted. But I think it's really important that your perception, first and foremost, of who you are, why you were created, every fabrication of who you are as a being is intentional, from freckles on your face to the fact that you may be called skinny, or the fact that you may be called thick, or the fact that you may have hips, or the fact that you may not have hips. The fact that, you may have stretch marks, or, you may have a bigger nose or big lips or whatever. You have to get to a point where you look in the mirror, and not just in the mirror, physically, or a tangible mirror, but an inner mirror, your reflection of who you are, and you have to get to a level to where you're okay with that, because if you're not, it will affect every aspect of your life, whether you realize it or not, consciously or subconsciously, in a negative way, from what you listen to, who it is that you look up to, relationships that you choose to dive in, the way that you allow men to treat you, the things that you allow on your body, or you to be okay with tolerating wearing certain things, no judgment, but we as women, we just got to do better, as a whole.
I really like that you said that, because we were talking before, and something that I really wanted to point out is, I think as a society, it really is double-sided, and I think it's very unfair. Because you have, in some situations, where women are praised and applauded for things that I just think are crazy. I could go off on a tangent about that, so I'll try to stay in my lane.
Me too. Please don't.
Yeah,
that'll
that's
be
a whole other video. But the point I'm trying to make is they're applauded for that, but then on a local level, if you will, in real life, those same women are called sluts, and they're not respected, or even weirder, they're being praised now, both in this weird entertainment space and in how it's translating into real life. Really look into the source behind what you're seeing, because the thing that's tricky is, if we are in a society where it's more likely for that to be praised, delivering that type of view or depiction of women,
Yeah.
We're sending a very strong message to like a younger generation
Yeah.
that is a really, I mean, there are plenty of people who are so successful,
Mm-hmm.
however you define success, but they have found a lot of success out of that space.
Yeah.
So what is the conversation that you give to young girls who they're seeing that? You know, it's just a tricky space.
And ultimately, this type of dialogue comes from a place of compassion and of care, and of valuing ourselves as women and the younger women enough to expose certain things that maybe society has kind of portrayed to be the norm or acceptable, but it's really not, you know, or caring enough to invest in ourselves and in the future is ultimately what this conversation is about. And, you know, because unfortunately there are, you know, younger women and little girls sitting at home that maybe didn't necessarily have tools or grow up in a home where they did feel validated or loved or pretty or affirmed in who they are and in why they're created. And even to those of us that did have those type of backgrounds, you know, still having voice, still making mistakes, still investing in bad relationships, still
it's like an ongoing,
still looking at ourselves with a skewed image or a negative perception of who it is that we are. But you have to get to a place to where that's not okay and that can't be tolerated. And my biggest fear, I think, is that it will take something really drastic or disturbing or fatal for, which I think is pretty much gotten to that point.
I think there's been a shift. I think you can only overlook certain things for so long before people like on like a lower scale, if you want to call it a scale, start feeling like, okay, we need to have an instrumental role in facilitating these conversations, reaching out to young girls, and women need this too. And like that's the thing you're talking about. Sometimes being whole is depicted in a way that is that you arrive. And something that I really like is the concept that it's like an ongoing sharpening. It's just like a pencil. Because the goal obviously is to be a whole person first. Like I want to say that, and I think that filters into your relationships. I think it filters into your work. I think it filters into like your, even like on just a family level. It changes your whole environment when you are able to step forward with a certain confidence about yourself.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I would be really surprised if there was somebody who could say that they wake up every day and they feel like $1 gazillion and they don't have to hit the reset button and start that like, you know, affirming and building yourself up and all that stuff.
The fact that you may have hips, or the fact that you may not have hips, or the fact that you may have, you know, 7 toes. That may be somebody's testimony.
I was like,
I'm just kidding.
Girl, if you got 7 toes, you just lick that little joker.
You know.